Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burning G. All by his bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burning G.
Welcome back to the PBC. It's your dog, Pelican Bay K9s, giving it to you the way I always do. Fair and unbiased, raw and uncut. Some gonna like it, some ain't, man. We in the bay today, and we got some stuff to talk about. We gonna talk about these inbred dogs. We gonna talk about breeding inbred dogs and the results from breeding these inbred dogs. You know, hope everybody been having a great day, man, across the board. A great evening. You know what I'm saying? Nobody ticked you off today. You know you feeling damn good. We just gonna talk about it, man. Big salute, big shout out to them brothers and sisters down in the chat. Everybody who always be in the chat and everybody who always watching the episodes or the shows or giving their input on what we talking about, man. When we start talking about these dogs and stuff like that, y'all hit that like button before you get up out of here, because a lot of brothers be getting forgetful. You know, if you don't like it, then so be it. Don't hit the like button if you don't like it. But if you like it, don't forget it. Hit that like button and then subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to the channel yet. You know, like I said, we're gonna talk about them inbred dogs and breeding inbred dogs, you know, and I'm gonna specifically talk a little bit about Redboy today, you know what I'm saying, and some of the dogs around him, you know, when it comes to this inbreeding stuff and things like that. And we know we always talk about a dog supposed to produce better than him, you know, and that's a good example of the statement that I'm making is Redboy, Yellow John, Grand Champion Yellow, Mayday, Barracuda, and who's ever else is after Barracuda. It's like it's going better and better and better and better and better. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's why I always say Redboy is really like one of the royal family. If you're gonna have three, Redboy is the damn royal family, you know, in that group of dogs. You know, the Redboy family, Redboy, Yellow John. The process went the way it's supposed to go. Like the brothers say, breeding equal. That's what I mean by breeding equal or better than. If you're not breeding equal or better than, what are you doing? You know, what are you doing if you're not breeding equal to or better? If you're not trying to get equal to or better, you know? And my thing to ask y'all brothers and sisters today, you know, other than, like I said, how you feeling? You know, when we look at Redboy and look at his offspring, you know, and then we look at Yellow John. Now, when you look at Yellow John, you see he's Redboy. He's directly off Redboy. Then you look at the bottom side, you see Redboy bred to one of Redboy daughters and bred to one of Redboy daughters again. And then that bred to Yellow John, you know, or that made Yellow John rather. Sorry about that. That made Yellow John. All right. Now, my thing is to speak about when we do an out with this kind of dog. Was Yellow John actually a better dog than Redboy because of the way they bred Redboy into Yellow John? You know, in my opinion, a Yellow John was, you know, maybe better than Redboy on how he was bred, but he was supposed to be. It wasn't a knock to Mr. Bass saying, oh, this dog is better than yours. That's not a knock. You know, that's a compliment. If a brother, like, yo, your dog better than Fletcher. You got him off Fletcher or you got him off Mellow Yellow. They better than them. That's a compliment. But we be so stuck in our shit sometimes. We look at it like you trying to diss me or you trying to down me or you trying to take my credit and you trying to run with it. Or you trying to say your dog better than mine and mine the one produce your dog. Like, we got to stop thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? That way of thinking is what's screwing a lot of stuff up when it comes to breeding. You supposed to be breeding better. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who you is and what you say you're breeding. You know, if you're not breeding better than you had, what the fuck is you doing? I'm going to say it and I'm going to say it and I'm going to say it over again. What is you doing? You know, now, when we look at Yellow John, we see he's inbred off Redboy. Now, my thing to speak about, like I said, is when we take these inbred dogs, not just a little bit of inbreeding, we take real heavy bred, inbred dogs, and then we breed them to an out. You know, I always call it the splash. The splash you get from taking a heavy inbred dog and breeding it to an out, and then you get them dogs. My example will be, you got Yellow John heavy inbred, and then you got Tance Miss Jocko, which actually has a little bit of Redboy in it herself. If you look at Tance Miss Jocko, you'll see that she's coming down off the Redboy Jr. dog, the Chavis Redboy Jr. dog in the background. So she has some Jocko in her. She is actually, Miss Jocko is actually a Redboy Jocko dog already, before them puppies even came out, you know. And then they took that dog and bred it to Yellow John, which is a product of Redboy through and through. Got a little bit of Redboy in the bottom, and down in the bottom with Miss Jocko. And then you get that. Now, this is one thing I will say though, you know, when you look at, let me get to Miss Jocko, you know, let me go to Miss Jocko online ped real quick. I want to see something before I speak on it, you know. Let's see here. Miss Jocko online ped. Okay, no. All right, that's an out. That's an out. What I was trying to see was Miss Jocko inbred, but she wasn't inbred. She was, you know, bred real good, a Redboy Jocko dog coming down off Jocko, and I think when I say Jocko bred to Redboy Jr. daughter to get Tance Miss Jocko, you know. So when you take that out and then you go back in, or you cross it with a inbred dog, a lot of times, man, you get great dogs. And all you got to do is look back in history. Look at the Bolio dogs that was really inbred. Brother, sister breeded, daddy to daughter, daddy the mama to son, you know, really inbred it more than one time. You know, you look through the whole pedigree, you see this one stud up there. You may see Grand Champion Yellow at the top, Grand Champion Yellow on the next level, Grand Champion Yellow at the very bottom, you know, and then you take these dogs and you breed them to something totally different. You get great dogs. And the proof is in the pudding when you go back to the past dogs that we be talking about or we know about. You just look at it. The proof is in the pudding. You got Yellow John, which I said, in my opinion, Yellow John, we can argue about this. We can talk about it. We can debate about it, but it's a debatable statement. Yellow John is better than, equal to, or better than Redboy when it comes to producing. You know, I believe that's a statement that we can have a debate about just off of his production, you know, just off his production alone. And I want to say this, you know, I want to say this before I forget about it. When you look at these Jocko dogs, Redboy dogs, and Jocko dogs, you know, you see a lot of black dogs in these dogs' pedigrees. In the first 4 generations, you see black dogs. When you start getting into Mayfield stuff and different things, you see black dogs. Lady Sassy Me came down off of Black Beauty, you know? So my thing is, keep your eyes open. Stop playing stupid to some of these older breeders that want you to play stupid so they can get that dollar out your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention. You see all these black dogs in these pedigrees, right? All that inbreeding we did with them Redboy Jocko dogs, when the hell did any of them black dogs pop up? None of the black dogs popped up in any of our dogs when we bred Grand Champion Yellow to other Redboy dogs or other Redboy Jocko dogs. We never got no damn black dogs. None of the Mayfield stuff popped up. None of that Lonzo stuff popped up at all. And we talking about during the time when all these dogs were actually living, you know. Why they ain't popped up? Now you got Termite. He was the brindle dog, you know. And you got several other dogs that was black or brindle, you know, during that era. But at the end of the day, with all the inbreeding that we did, and I ain't talking about just people on my side of town, I'm talking about the whole country. With all the inbreeding that we did with that Redboy Jocko stuff, when it was close, not this modern day stuff, I'm talking about back in the 90s. Why the black dogs didn't pop up? Coming from Mr. Mayfield, you know what I'm saying? And Mr. Lonzo, like I said, as well as the other dogs. You got the La Passe stuff down there, you know. Mr. Chavis even had dogs that we don't know if they was black, but the way the names for them seemed like they could be black dogs. You know, and when you look at Lady Sassy Mead and the dogs that she coming down off of, black dogs. But when we get the dogs and we start doing all this inbreeding, all this line breeding, all this breeding, the same kind of breeding that some of y'all big time kennels said brings back the traits from 50 years ago. And we couldn't get a black dog off inbreeding that Redboy Jocko shit in the 90s. How the hell we get a black color dog off the Redboy Jocko Bolio shit from 2026, 2025? How we do it when Bolio is older than Redboy himself? So Bolio from the 70s, right? Bolio from the 70s. Early 70s. You know, Redboy came into the 80s. The Redboy Jocko cross that Tant made was in the 80s. The Tant's Miss Jocko. And like I said, you look at all them dogs coming down off Mayfield's family. And you look at the way Mr. Chavis made his breedings. Now, one thing I will say as well, we can't really tell what color Mr. Chavis dogs was, a lot of them, because they don't got no color up there on the online pad. They just got the name, and that's about it, you know. I think brothers should put, I don't even think they got Jocko picture on online pad, on the actual pedigree. You need to put the picture up there. Y'all put pictures everywhere else. Put Jocko picture up there, you know, and maybe we can get in touch with some of these brothers from back in the day, some of these old school brothers that may have some more pictures of some of Mr. Chavis dogs, you know, that we can fill in on online pad, and you can start seeing these dogs' colors that they was back then, you know. But my thing is, when you got a heavily inbred dog and you take it out, man, that shit does something to the offspring. You know what I'm saying? Just look at your Eli dog. Now, in order to have an Eli dog bred the way I'm speaking about, you gotta say take your Eli dog to the female, right? Get the offspring of that. Take it back to your Eli dog again. Get the offspring of that. Take it back to your Eli dog again. Get the offspring of that. And maybe take it back one more time to the Eli dog, right? And then you take that offspring and then you go into something totally different. Totally different. And you get some good bulldogs when you get that offspring hit the ground. You know, and the proof is in the pudding. It's nothing I'm making up. It's nothing I'm assuming. The proof is in the pudding when you look at all the old dogs that these dogs come off of. You know? And like I said, all the breeding that we did, no black dogs, no brindle dogs, you know, termite dogs, you know, the termite stuff. It's a little funny stuff going on when it comes to that termite stuff. And I don't mean illegitimate. I just mean you only got one story from the brother that actually had the termite dog, Carolina Kennels, who actually had the termite dogs. He telling you certain things, you know, but it kind of seems as if either the termite dog didn't produce the same kind of dogs, the same caliber of dogs, you know, or it was just blackballed, or people didn't focus on it enough, or so. I don't know what happened, but somehow or another, Termite was disconnected from the Redboy Jocko dogs that they was producing, and you know, he got his own stuff, he got his own line, but you don't hear people talking about how game them dogs is. I had a brother on my show that told y'all about the Jocko dogs, saying they wasn't really all that to brag on back then, but that was his opinion. You know, that was his opinion. Because if that was the case, many dog men who went and bred to Mr. Chavis dogs, they wouldn't have been trying to breed to him if Jocko wasn't doing, or if Jocko wasn't good enough to breed to, you know? So, I mean, it's like, you just got to look at the peds, man. And like I said, we talking about a few things today, you know? We talking about why that color didn't show back up from Mayfield. We talking about when you breed out, when you breed so heavy in, and then you go out, you get some good stuff. You know, that's why I said when it come to my puppies, I can go out at any time now. You know, I don't got to rush to do it. Say, oh, I got to go out next breeding. I don't got to rush to do it, but I know what's awaiting me when I do it. You know what I'm saying? I know what's coming. And at the end of the day, 20 years from now, it's going to be some of y'all younger brothers that say, oh, I know what Pelican Bay was talking about now. Because you took time and you stayed focused on one line of dogs for a long period of time. You didn't go, oh, because they were selling something, you went and bought that, and then you went and got this, and you went and got that, and you went. Big salute to all the brothers that grab different lines of dogs. And this the thing, y'all got to stop saying people are kennel blind, like I said before, because they don't think the way you think when it comes to grabbing so many different bloodlines. You know what I'm saying? It's just like saying get the job done, get your first job done first before you're trying to start another job. Same thing. If you focus on one line of dogs, or what you want to be called one line of dogs, in 10, 15, 20 years, you'll be able to look at them dogs. You know what's what when you see them. You know what I'm saying? You know what kind of percentages your litter's giving you. In 20 years, you done bred them dogs so much, that one family of dogs, you know, you done bred them so much, you see what's coming out. You can see if you're getting weaker, and you can see if you maintaining what you started with, you know. Like I say about the welcome all stuff, I seen them dogs so long. I done seen their teeth go from this big to small teeth in the dogs. I done seen some of them dogs, they coming out sterile over a period of time. They don't have puppies, you know. I done seen it several ways, several things when it comes to them dogs. What I haven't seen though, they haven't been plagued with skin problems. They haven't been, you know. I only had, well, I didn't have it. My homeboy had it. One welcome out dog back in the early 2000s that had a skin problem. He was off split ears, and he had some type of, his skin was turning black and all kind of shit. I don't know if that was coming from the breeding or what it was coming from, but he had something going on with his skin. It wasn't no bumps or no type of shit like that on it. It was something else going on with it. But I haven't seen any more dogs off that particular family with skin problems. You know, I seen the bones get smaller and different things. You know, I see all kind of transformations in the dogs over 20 and 30 years, you know, from breeding so tight. You got to be real with yourself when it comes to these dogs. Let's go back to Redboy. Let's look at, and I keep telling brothers, you know, no matter, we know the pedigree thing with Redboy don't matter now. It's too many years gone, and plus he was producing so good. You know, too many years done went by. But look at it, you know, stop comparing Redboy pedigree and saying, oh, Redboy got the same thing in him one of these dogs we was talking about yesterday had in him. I think salute to the brother that said this right here. Tombstone and Redboy got some of the same stuff in their background. I can't argue with you about that, brother. You know, but one thing I will say, we hear things and we let it go in one ear and out the other. Some things you're supposed to do like that, you know. But then other times you need to pay attention. You need to pay attention when Mr. Mayfield say Tombstone pedigree wasn't right. A brother from that era, I'm quite sure he would know what's going on with these dogs. Now, if Tombstone pedigree ain't right, listen, I can care less what y'all brothers believe about Redboy. People over here where Redboy come from, we know what time it is. Redboy daddy, not Redboy, but Redboy daddy was found. I ain't gonna say on the side of the road. I ain't gonna say at the bar. I ain't gonna say at the gas station. You know, because by the time the story got to us, it'll change up a little bit. But Redboy daddy was found. Matter of fact, by the time the story got to us, the younger brothers, later on down the line, it was talking about Redboy was the one found on the side of the road. It ain't Redboy. It's Redboy daddy. And like I told y'all, I gave y'all the story about Redboy daddy from a brother who was round them dogs, you know, from family members of Mr. Bass. Gave y'all the stories. But I don't press the issue when brothers speak about Redboy pedigree because I know it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But why you think you can't take a pure Medlin's outlaw dog and a pure Redboy dog and get the same kind of dogs? You know, or similar kind of dogs. Because he's supposed to be coming off Till's Jeff. Different mamas, same daddies. Look at Medlin Outlaw's offspring list and look at Redboy's offspring list. Totally different. But they supposed to be half brothers. You see, Big John and Mayday is half brothers. And you see the difference in production? Half brothers, same daddy, Grand Champion Yellow. We get them Grand Champion Yellow traits in the Big John dogs. We get them Grand Champion Yellow traits in the Mayday dogs. You know, same half brothers, different mamas. Medlin Outlaw and Redboy supposed to be the same distance as Big John and Mayday is from each other. But the production wise, the Medlin Outlaw dogs is nothing. And let me say this, because what I'm saying don't mean the Medlin Outlaw dogs aren't good. It means they are two different type of dogs. Your Redboy dogs are like this. Your Medlin Outlaw dogs are like that. Two different traits, two different families of dogs. And it's not hard to see, you know? But when we look at Mayday, all the yellow sons, Mayday, Big John, Hardcore's, Bozak, all these sons off of Grand Champion Yellow. And we see the same thing that this son throwing, this son throwing. Same thing that this son throwing, this son throwing. Or this daughter throwing. Because the genes are there. You know, the genes are there, man. And the thing about it, like I said, we always try to say, this Medlin, we're going to take the Medlin Outlaw and cross it back to the Redboy, or you know, and this and that and this and that. You know, but I don't know if them brothers back then, I know Mr. Bass them knew it, you know, and I'm quite sure Mr. Medlin them knew it. Maybe it's the more younger generations that was trying to cross Medlin's Outlaw into the Redboy to make it a pure of two different families of dogs. Both dogs supposed to be coming off Till's Jeff, like I said, half brothers, you know. But you're getting different results. You take a Medlin Outlaw, you take all them dogs that Medlin Outlaw made, any of them that he was inbred with, but it don't equal up to the Redboy resume. It's not too many dogs that's gonna equal up to the Redboy resume outside of your Bolio stuff. You know, even your Jeep dogs, they made one, two, maybe a great grandson that was pretty good, and then they fell off compared to how they was. In modern day time, if we had to go off of what the Jeep dogs are doing today, Jeep wouldn't be on the rum list. Jeep is on the rum list because of what the old Jeep dogs was doing and what they was producing from the 90s, right? When these brothers got these dogs in the early 2000s and start making their breeders and going to Al House and getting the dogs and making their breeders and making their breeders, they breeders weren't coming out as the same as the old school Jeep breeders. You know, and you know, sometimes it be just the way the ball falls. Sometimes brothers don't know what they're doing. Sometimes it's not necessary to breed all the inbred stuff. You know, you might want to go out, then go in, go out, then go in. Have a little pattern what you got going on. You know? That's why I always say, man, every dog breeds different. Every dog have their own little thing going on with them, you know? But at the same time, when they got the same genetics, the same blood, that's really the same blood. You see, even though Mayday and Big John is half brothers, if I take Mellow Yellow or Fletcher right now and put them side by side with a Mayday dog that's been bred down just as long as them, you know, we ain't talking about nothing with Mayday as the granddaddy. We talking about Mayday in the 5th generation at least, you know, 4th or 5th generation. If I take them two dogs and I go get them DNA'd, you know, it's a good chance that they'll come up kin to each other, or they'll say they're coming from similar families of dogs or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how that'll play out, you know, but and I always told y'all brothers this. I told y'all brothers this. You don't pay attention, like I said, you go in one end, out the other. When Chico Lopez came over here and got them Walkmore dogs back in the days, I told y'all, man, them red Walkmore dogs. He came over here in the early 2000s. Where them dogs and what happened to them dogs? Where they at now? You don't think Chico knew that might be the Mayday sperm he talking about he got? You know, you don't think he knew that them dogs would come up as family members? I mean, it's no different than if all the Walkmore dogs was totally gone. And I'm trying to say I got a Walkmore dog. All of them gone. You can't find them nowhere, right? As far as the main dogs. All right. Now, I go get a Mayday dog that's heavy bred Mayday, and say if they had Big John DNA down there, or either one of his offspring DNA down there, one of his kids or grandkids DNA down there, right? Now, I take my heavy Mayday dog and go get it tested to that DNA that they got in the system already. And I tell them my Mayday dog is a Walkmore dog. This is one of Big John grandsons. You know, cause say the Big John dogs is more popular than the Mayday dogs at this time. Just say that, you know. So I'm gonna go tell them this Mayday dog I got right here is a Big John dog, because I know I can make more money off of it saying it's a Big John dog. I go get them DNA tested from the DNA they got down there, and it's gonna come back to saying it's a Walkmore dog. Because it's two half brothers. So when Chico came and got them dogs, y'all thought I was trolling, y'all thought I was saying this, talking shit I don't know about. Man, listen here. All I know is when you came and got them dogs in the early 2000s, this ain't 20 years later, 26 years, we in 2026. We talking about the early 2000s. When he came and got them dogs, it would have been easy to say them dogs was off Mayday if you had some Mayday DNA, you know? And I don't care what they say. I don't think they got no DNA for Mayday. No, they ain't got no DNA for Big John. You know what I'm saying? You may have DNA for dogs off Mayday. Some of his sons, some of his grandkids been DNA profiled. But I don't know, man. Maybe I may be wrong. They may have DNA for Mayday. You know, they may have it. I could be wrong. But I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't sure about that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't sure about it. If the man gave Mr. Till Redboy father as a, you know, gave him Redboy father, and he just gave them to him. That furthermore lets you know that they wasn't worried about pedigrees back then the way they worried about pedigrees now. You know, because he would have came and gave him that Redboy, that Redboy father. He would have gave him Redboy father with some papers to him in his hand. You know, why would he keep the papers? Or why wouldn't he tell him how he's bred when he hand him this dog? So that further makes this Redboy thing a more of a mystery. You know, I'm coming to give any of y'all brothers down in the chat right now a dog, right? And it's a pretty decent dog. I'm coming to give it to you. Why wouldn't I give you the papers with it? Or a write-up as they did back in the days, writing it, he off this, he off that, he off this, he off that. One thing we know for sure is that when the man gave him the dog, he wouldn't have said it was off Till's Jeff because he given the owner of Till's Jeff the dog. So there's no way they could have been off Till's Jeff. So that's why I always say, man, when brothers say, oh, Tombstone and Redboy got some of the same stuff in the background, yeah, I'm gonna tell you what they got. Missing links. That's the same thing. Both of them share something in common. Tombstone and Redboy. You know, both of them supposedly coming off falsified pedigrees. Only thing about Tombstone, he didn't become the super breeder that Redboy did. Redboy finessed it by his damn self. You didn't have to have Redboy Jocko, straight Redboy, Redboy Jeep, Redboy Eli, Redboy Rascal. You know, Redboy went with every damn thing. Tombstone is totally different when it comes to breeding. Bolio and the Tombstone go together. You don't hear nothing about Tombstone Redboy, Tombstone Eli, Tombstone Rascal. Totally different, man. Look what Tent got when he bred Yellow, the Yellow sons, Yellow, the Yellow daughters, Yellow, and took the offspring of that and bred it back to Yellow again. Look how the dogs that, you know, that he got off of that. Father to daughter, then father back to granddaughter, then father back to great-granddaughter. You get great dogs. Brother and sister breeding. That's the same way we got Green Sandy, you know, off of Jocko and Pearl, or Jocko and Apples, whichever one you want to call it. You know, brother and sister. And then you take that brother and sister breeding, which was Green Sandy. Look at all the dogs that she made off of her little cross, you know, her brother and sister cross, going back into a heavily bred, inbred Redboy dog. Green Sandy and the Yellow John, you see what you get. Green Sandy and the Yellow, you see what you get. Green Sandy and any of these dogs from that era, you know, that was inbred off of Redboy, and look what you got. And like I said, it ain't hard to tell that the Meadowlands Outlaw dogs aren't, and I'll say this again, gotta say it one more time. When I say this, they don't mean the quality of the Meadowlands dogs lacking. The Meadowlands dog could be the best dogs in the world, but it's a different kind of best than your Redboy dogs are. You know, your Redboy dogs are it's just something, it's something else in them dogs, man. And I don't mean in the bloodline, I mean it's just genetically wise, everybody understand what Redboy brings to the table. Back then and now. How can you have, and I asked this shit over and over, why the hell Redboy was never on the rum list when everybody going to him? It had to be a way you could put dogs up there that's not actually producing the champions, but their offspring is producing the champions. You know, especially when they inbred it. It'd be different if I was just off this dog was off Redboy, and then you had a whole nother bunch of bloodlines on the bottom, and then they had good dogs. You don't know where it's coming from. But when it's inbred, you know it's coming from Redboy or either Jocko. We really don't see, and brothers had an opportunity to do this. We don't see the pure Jocko dogs. We don't see the heavily The heaviest we got a Jocko is maybe like, I'm talking about in modern day time, not when Mr. Chavis had his dogs. He had Jocko. But at the end of the day, he didn't go. Even Mr. Chavis himself didn't use the Jocko dog like he used the Yellow John dog. Or the Redboy dog. He bred Redboy inbred, but Jocko got some inbred offspring as well. You go back into them Walkmore dogs and look. That's why I tell brothers, them Walkmore dogs, the bottom side of them, when you look at, you got to go way back. The Walkmore dog started off for Big John or Mama Sabre, bred to Walkamore's Ace, which gave you Little John. Ace was off all of Mr. Chavis dogs. All right. And then you got Walkamore Sabre that bred to Grand Champion Yellow that made Big John. But take the Grand Champion Yellow, Big John, I'm breeding off, and now you got Walkamore's Ace, which is a Jocko dog. And Ace may be Redboy Jocko as well. When I look at the pedigree, let me check the pedigree out real quick. I want to say he's Redboy Jocko as well with the Super Nance boots in it. Now, when it comes to Ace, Walkamore's Ace, this is what I'm talking about. When you go in the fourth generation, you got Ace. You got Jocko. You got Redboy. You got, who else you got up here? I'm gonna go in Ace fourth generation, and I'm just gonna read all the way down Ace fourth generation. Walkamore's Ace, which is Little John's daddy. I'm gonna read Ace's fourth generation from the top to the bottom. You got Jackson's Hank, Ross Queenie. Then you got McNeil's Argo, which is Jocko little mate brother. You got Argo bred to Jennings BB. Jennings BB is a Meadowlands outlaw dog and the wise Maximilia dog. With your grand champion Ross Red Devil. Now, some people said, I heard people say in the past that the Ross Red Devil and the Maximilia dog is old family red dogs or got some old family red blood in it. But just giving you the read down on it, that's the Jennings BB dog that was bred to Argo. Now, you got Jocko up under the BB. Then you got Chris Blondie. Now, Blondie is coming down off Jocko, bred to Jocko daughter. All right. Blondie bred to Jocko is off Jocko, bred to Jocko daughter. And then you got Super Nance Boots. Super Nance Boots, who is off Green Sandy and Chavis Yellow John. That's your Super Nance Boots. So Ace is a Redboy Jocko dog as well. You got Chavis Wiggles. Chavis Wiggles. And then you got Redboy bred to Marlowe's Red Feather. Now the Wiggles dog, Chavis Wiggles, was off Yellow John bred to Yellow John daughter, which was Chavis Judy bred to Yellow John. And then you get Chavis Wiggles off of that. Chavis Wiggles was bred to Super Nance Boots to get Chavis Tipsy. Now, as we still go down, we got Bass Tramp Redboy, we got Marlowe's Red Feather, we got Chavis Jocko, Chavis Apples, which is the Green Sandy breeding, Redboy bred to Red Feather, and Yellow John bred to Chavis Susie at the very bottom. Now, Susie is coming down off Jocko, bred to Jocko daughter. Jocko bred to Jocko daughter, got Chavis Susie. Chavis Susie bred to Yellow John to get Chavis Judy. Chavis Judy was bred back to Yellow John again to get Chavis Wiggles. Super Nance Boots was bred to Wiggles to get Tipsy. Tipsy was bred to Triple O Jocko to get Walkamore's Ace. Ace was bred to Ace was bred to Saber to get Little John. You know? So even though you see a lot of Jocko names in there, it's about a 50-50 Redboy Jocko cross as well. And this Walkamall's Ace is a 50-50 Redboy Jocko cross without having any Grand Champion Yellow in it. That's a Redboy Jocko dog. You ain't got one spank of Grand Champion Yellow blood in it. All Yellow John, Redboy, Jocko, and them dogs. You know? But when you look at how Mr. Chavis was breeding, same way. And Mr. Chavis, it's obvious to see that he like to keep going into them. You know, make a breeding off Fletcher and so, take the puppy off that, go back into Fletcher. Take the puppy off that, go back into Fletcher again. Take the puppy off that, go back into Fletcher again. That was Mr. Chavis' style of breeding. He did it with Yellow John. He did it with Jocko. And he got awesome results from making them breedings. And like I always say, when you take a whole lot of inbreeding and you cross them out. So let's see, right? We know Saber 2000. We know Saber was off the breedings I just told you, right? She bred the Grand Champion Yellow, which made Big John. And you see all his offspring that came down. All right. Now, in my opinion, you know, she was more of that breeding with Big John and Saber was more of it wasn't a inbred dog bred back to a total opposite. That was like the same blood going back into the same blood. Inbred on the bottom side and inbred on the top side. And line bred and inbred on both sides of the same dog, you know, when you got Big John them. But when you got like Mayday, total opposite. You got your Bolio bred to your Redboy Jocko, total opposite. You get great dogs from that. And great dogs that can produce great dogs. See, I don't know which one of them dogs it is. It's between Redboy, Yellow John, and Grand Champion Yellow. One of them dogs put genetics into the offspring that makes them hellified producers. You know, your average dog that's truly off of Grand Champion Yellow, Yellow John, or Redboy can produce better than your average damn dog that ain't got none of that stuff in it. Your average dog can, you know. And like I said, the same way I say you can take them Big John dogs and that walk 'em off stuff, and you can breed it with any damn thing. Because of how they bred it over the 30, 40 years and how it was bred before they got their hands on it. Now you go cross it out to a Catahoula or some other kind of shit. Man, you might have a 2 or 3 Catahoula looking dogs in that litter, but I guarantee you have a dog in there that'll make champion. Grand champion back in them damn days. I guarantee you. Because of how them dogs, they bred so tight and they got some type of unexplainable breeding gene that they just pass it down. They pass it down. They offspring can make the puppies. Their offspring can make the puppies. And their offspring makes the puppies. And you can inbreed them. You see how long Mr. Chavis been inbreeding the dogs, Yellow John and Jocko, and then you see how long these brothers in modern day time been inbreeding since the 90s. And these dogs still holding up. The Redboy Jocko dogs I'm talking about. Any brother will tell you, all the lines can't hold up with that inbreeding like that. I heard brothers say, you inbreed the boys dogs, you start getting weak ass curd type dogs. You know, dogs that flashlights, light switches, start, just quit in the middle of the shows. You start losing traits with some of these other bloodlines whenever you do too much inbreeding with it. But with the Redboy Jocko shit, it seems to be able to take all that inbreeding. You know, if you go back to Mr. Chavis dogs and you tally up all the time from then to now, we're gonna say to the 70s, the late 70s, on up to 2026. Inbreeding, line breeding. Some people ain't like I said with Mellow Yellow them. They only been out with the Mountain Man dogs back in the 90s. The Mountain Man Cleo Sesco. That was the only out the Big John stuff had in it since the 90s. Early 90s. All right. Now, before that happened, you look back in the dogs, it ain't gonna be no out until you get the Mayfield stuff. Because Mr. Chavis was breeding to all his stuff. Jocko, bred a Jocko daughter, take a daughter off that, breed it back to him again. And now you come all the way up to now. We damn near going on 50 years of line breeding a particular line of dogs. When we speak about top 5 purest families around today, Walkmore will have to be in there. They have to be in there. Only cutting and only out when that was dead is when brothers buy their dogs from these brothers or brought their dogs from these brothers, then they made outs or they went a different direction, you know? But when it come to me, I'm from the hometown, so I knew I want to keep my shit pure. I'm only breeding back into the family. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll go out because I seen some great dogs come off the outs. One thing I could always rely on when it came to them Big John dogs, Little John dogs, that walk them off stuff. One thing I could always rely on in the days was them coming out that corner. They known to scratch. They known to come out that corner no matter what kind of damage they took. You know what I'm saying? You take them and you get them over there and you release them and they're coming. And see, when you knew how to handle these dogs, that's why I say you got to know the dogs you're dealing with. I'm gonna call a turn on my damn self. You know, I'm coming to the square with that in my head. If I got to call turn on myself, call turn on myself. You know, of course, if my dog doing a bunch of he getting busy, he doing what he's supposed to be doing, or he putting a lot of punishment down, I might overlook something. But if it's going back and forth and he look like he's doing a lot of working, he's working real hard, I'm gonna call turn on myself because I know what kind of dog I got. One that's made to shoot out the barrel. You know, not one that's made to go blow for blow with a knife, strap your arms together and let's stay right here in the middle, go blow for blow with knives, stabbing each other. They ain't bred like that. They bred to finish, but they bred to come out that corner. Scratch dogs. 100 times scratch dogs. You know, that's how they bred. So you might be looking for one to come out there and dismember a dog in the middle of the square. You get them time to time. You get them time to time. Yeah. You say, buddy would make you look like you got hit in the chest with a shotgun. You know, holes this damn big in the chest. But when they doing it like that, you know you got a special dog. You know you got a special dog when they do it like that because they made it come out that corner. Now when he finish it in the middle, he getting busy doing his thing in the middle. Yeah, that's a special dog there. You know? But at the end of the day, like I said, since I said Walkmore is one of the purest families in today's time, no matter what bloodline you're talking about, give me somebody down in the chat and help me figure out these pure families of dogs. Who else got a pure family that kept it pure the whole damn time from the time they made the breeders till modern day time? You know, I ain't talking about somebody who, you know, got Grand Champion Yellow Dogs and they running something else too. And something else too, they got a little bit of Rascal in it, a little bit of this in it, a little bit of that in it, but you see it still, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about a family of dogs that you hear brothers criticizing, they saying this all the time. Oh, they need to breed to something else. They need to breed out. They need to take it out. They inbreeding too much. They did too much inbreeding. They lost the traits. They lost this. They lost that. But that's only the people that say that is the ones who got a bad dog. You get bad dogs time to time. You get dogs that can't make the cut. You know what I'm saying? But that don't mean that the sauce is lost. That just means you got a bad batch. You know? And it happens just like that. I take the wins with the losses. You know, like I said before, when I speak about the Big John dog, I have to let y'all brothers and sisters know that I don't think these dogs were unbeatable because I beat the motherfucker. You know, dust his ass. More than one of them, I dust their ass off. You know? Matter of fact, several of them, I done dust the Little John dog off. I dust, let me see who else I dust. Little John dog, the Big John dog, the Big John grandson, I dust off. Let me see who else I dust off. Quite a few of them. But what makes me like that line of dogs, for one, I know about them. I have spent a lot of time with them, you know, but the dogs are one of the purest families today coming off that Grand Champion Yellow stuff. Is why I like the line so much. And I know how them brothers was breeding the dogs. I know that when Sonny was making his breeders, I know that he didn't give a fuck about what kind of dog you got. He breeding to his shit. He don't care about the noise that you making over there. Because in his head, he's saying, hey, you can't bring this dog over here to outshine my dogs. Your dog kicking up dust over here, but you bring your dog or his offspring over here, let's see what they get. Let's see how it go down. You can't outsport me. What the purpose of me trying to breed to you? Because your pedigree look good? Because your pedigree say I should breed to you? Fuck no. We talking about the dogs. Let the dogs do the talking. If it ain't broke, why the hell we want to fix it? That's all what I always say. You know? I remember when I didn't even know about these game dogs. And man, them brothers had the pink dogs is what we always called them over there. Ride past the house. This had to be about 92, 91, 90, maybe somewhere around that area. Ride past the house. That man over there got them pink pit bulls. Like I said before, the sun glaring, shining on the dogs from a distance, about a half a football field away from the road, you know, from the highway as you ride past, about a half a football field away, maybe a little bit more. And you can see the dogs over there standing up way over there. Dogs look pinkish color, you know. Oh, that's the man over there with the pink pit bulls. Until one day I stopped over there, you know, and bought me one. Now, to give y'all brothers some time frame on how long ago this was, Sonny was building this damn house up. Him and Mr. Vern was building Sonny's house when I stopped over there. He wasn't living in that motherfucker yet. He was building it up. And I pull up over there, ask him about a dog, and I bought one. That was off Champion Red John. Champion Red John, and I want to say CP. You know, my dog name was Chester because he was orange. And I named him Chester after Chester Cheese, the tiger, the cat, you know, the teddy chip bag. So I named him Chester. I never had a chance for him to get big. If I would have sat on Chester and wait till he got big, wait till he became a grown dog, I would have some stories for y'all when it come to that Big John shit. Because this was, like I said, this is when I was totally green when it comes to these pit bulls. I love pit bulls, yeah. I know what they is. I know what I'm trying to do with them, but I'm totally green to the game. Totally green to let this Redboy Jocko dog grow. Let him get some age on him. Start trying to grab him around the mouth and make him growl and then stick him on this other brother dog over here. Stop trying to let him look at two dogs going. Let him look at two dogs going and hope he get riled up and want to go over there and get into the fight. You know, should have just sat on him. That's why I tell brothers, man, every dog is not the same in every other man's hands. A seasoned dog, man, would have took Chester that I got when I was a teenager, would have took Chester and turned him to a grand champion, if it was possible. What I did with him, I fucked him up. He ended up dying in a hurricane, like I told y'all, you know, before he even was a year old. He never made it to, I remember this clear as day. Chester never made it to 7 or 8 months old. He died at about the 5-6 month old mark, somewhere around that area. You know, I start getting him he start cranking up. Like I told you just now, I took other dogs in the woods, let them roll, get them to rolling. I got Chester out there standing right there with me. He looking at the dogs rolling. Now he over there barking, running, backing up, barking, trying to get over there. I'm liking that. You know what I'm saying? I said, oh yeah, look at him. Look at him. Look how he acting. But until the day he died, I never had him one-on-one with another dog and they was just locked up going because he wasn't started up yet. And I didn't have the knowledge that I thought I had back then with the kind of dog that I possessed in my hand. I had gold. I didn't know I had gold. You know, I didn't know back then to take this damn dog and do the most I could with him. All I knew is I had the money to buy him, and if I need to buy some more, I'm gonna go buy some more. You know? But hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, one thing you could count on, and that's why I said this statement as well. Brothers get it confused because you want to hear certain parts of what I'm saying. That's why I say as well, the Walk'em dogs are equivalent to what Redboy dogs were back in the days. Right now, you know, you take them shits and breed them to anything. Same thing you would have did with a Redboy dog back in the days. You can't breed a Redboy dog with anything and hope to keep that same gameness right now. You take them damn Walk'em dogs, you breed them motherfuckers to a Dalmatian. You breed that motherfucker, I guarantee you, I'll take Fletcher and breed him to anime. Out of that damn litter, now being that I'm breeding them to a female Dutch Shepherd, I may not get as many pit bull looking dogs. They may come out looking more like the Dutch Shepherds. But I guarantee you, you know, I'm willing to put, I ain't gonna lie to you, if this was the golden age, I would bet dog for dog. You know, I'll get one of my puppies and meet you at the square. Cause I done did that before. You know, I got my dog, that Redboy dog I told y'all I had, that cotton hamster. He wanted me a couple dogs. We bet dog for dog today. You know what I'm saying? Not the dog that's in the square, but I got me a nice damn puppy right here. And you got you a nice damn puppy that I want something off of. And we bring them out here. You know what I'm saying? My shit win, I take your puppy. Yours win, you take mine. It's bloodlines out there when you breed them with something else. Like I'm saying, breeding to something else, they won't even look like a pit bull no more. You know, they may not even show pit bull traits. But the way them brothers bred that Big John shit, that's why I always give them their props. No matter what kind of shit I talk, and I ain't talking about the fake Walk'em, I'm talking about the real brothers. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, my relationship was with the real Walk'em. It wasn't with the fake one. Me and him don't have no kind of relationship outside of was calling my damn phone. You know, when it come to them dogs, we ain't had no kind of relationship at all. You know? His name didn't mean shit to me when it come to dogs. I never had to go to him about no damn dogs because he wasn't in the dog game. Yeah, he had a couple dogs for them boys and hold a couple scratched up dogs here and there for them boys. Different things like that. Don't get that shit confused, man. Don't get that shit confused. He don't know how to do no damn keep. Don't know how to work no keep. And I clear. Without hearing it from Sonny, you can't even tell him about the dog. He can't even tell you about the dogs. I'm the motherfucking reason some of them dogs was bred the way they was bred. Because I was out there in the trenches. You know what I'm saying? In the real trenches out here. That Jocko and Crazy Girl breeding that y'all see, you know, or nah, take that back. Fletcher and Crazy Girl. You know, Fletcher and Crazy Girl breeding. I'm the reason that breeding was married, was locked in together. Because I took a female that I told y'all, Libya, off that same breeding and shut shit down with that bitch. So why not breed that same breeding again and again and again and again? Jocko was a good dog coming off that same breeding. You know, my dog Favre that I had, he was good, but I pushed him. I pushed him too fast. Same breeding, Fletcher and Crazy Girl. You know, Fletcher was off Little John. So, like I said, I went into Fletcher too. So it's not like I don't got no real dealings with these dogs. I went into Fletcher. I went into Split Ears. You know, I went into Johnny One Nut. And I want one of y'all motherfuckers to say that they was going into somebody that wasn't competition. Because see, I know that I was a little green right then, but I can tell you what, I'll tell you motherfucking what, I wasn't one to slip on. I guarantee you that shit. You couldn't just come play the damn piano around like that. You know, and think you gonna run through me. I got beat by Fletcher. We had the dog called Mexico. Big Wooly, salute to Big Wooly. Big Wooly let me train, Big Wooly let me condition a dog named Mexico. That was before some of y'all brothers was even born out this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're in your early 20s, you weren't even born yet. If you was born, you was about 2 or 3 years old. Big Willie gave me the Mexico dog, and I don't think he was no Mexican Eli. His name was Mexico. I worked the Mexico dog and a bullshit keep now that I look back on it. I had him running them on the bicycle, but I didn't run them on the bicycle as much as I had them on the treadmill. My treadmill was a bullshit mill, but I worked them. You know, I worked them, but standing here in front of y'all brothers and sisters today, I'll tell you honestly, you know, the things that I knew when I had Sambo far outweighed the things that I knew when I took Mexico out. You know, far outweighed it. I still learned stuff I was still learning when I had Sambo. You see how I let them shit me with the split ears dog? And at the same time, they didn't shit me because I knew my dog was just that badass. My head was just that damn big. I'm gonna smoke these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? I'm laughing at them, telling them everything I'm thinking my dog do. I'm a man with one dog over here, right? I probably had about 10 dogs, maybe about 7, 8 dogs, 5 dogs, so around the area. I ain't sure exactly what it was when I was at the house that day, you know. But I'm a man with a small amount of dogs, talking to a brother with 60 to 100 dogs, where he can mix and match and bring something for my badass dog. You know, how big he is. Oh, he about 50 something. Oh, where he go at? He going in the throat. You know what I'm saying? That motherfucker was a face and throat dog. Throat to finish you off, and face to get all them bullshit ass chest dogs off of him. He had a whole bunch of chest dogs come shooting up in all that fatty hair right there. They shooting up in it. He crushing their muzzle at the same time. Then when he get them off the chest, backpedaling, get them on the ground, and finish them on off. You know, so, you know, you learn, you live and you learn. Like I said, at the end of the day, they dust me off with Mexico. Mexico barely lost to Fletcher. Fletcher scratched, but it wasn't like he got destroyed by Fletcher. He just took the count. You know what I'm saying? It was I lost the match, you know, because I took the count with Mexico. But he still had a little bit of energy, in my opinion. But like I said, my keep wasn't all the way there. I was still learning. But you know us sometime, right? We could be still learning, but we won't tell that brother right there. Even though Big Willie, we was rolling every damn day, so he knew what my experience was with the dogs. It wasn't like I had to lie to him about something. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, we the type of people that, we ain't gonna say if might need a little bit of help. You know, might need a little bit of help doing this, or ask a brother a question when you wanna know something. Instead of asking him, you wanna stay quiet because you want him to think you know this and you know that. You know? But we went out, we learned. We lost against Fletcher. I went out, I lost against Split Ears. But when I came back, you know, when I mother effing came back, I came back for vengeance. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no treadmill gonna get me off your ass today. You can put them 2 dogs on treadmills in front of each other and you can let them run for 3 hours straight. When I come for your ass today, your ass is mine. And that's how I came. When I came, that's how I came, man. Believe me, my brother, I was on point when I came back. Oh, let's go to the scales. Oh, let's make sure this motherfucker is on the dime. We fought 50-some, we went at 50-some pounds, 55, 56 pounds. Ain't no damn catch weight. You gotta put this motherfucker on the scale. 56 pounds, you know what I'm saying? Put him on the scale. He better be 56, you know? Money on the line. And most importantly, more important than money at that time was my pride. I'm coming to kick ass. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't never felt so good about my dog when I left. Never felt so good, man. That's why I rep my shit when it come to the cards, when it come to anything. When you look in this book, pull out my book again. When you look in this book, I gotta show you. You gotta rep my shit. Shit. and you see Sambo pictures. Sambo pictures. Anybody who know me for dogs, that's the dog they know me for. They don't know the rest of the dogs I had, you know, because they wasn't famous dogs like that. And they didn't really see me with the dogs all the time like that. Sambo was with me every single day. When I walk, I go somewhere, he with me. He wasn't with me in the cars. He was with me when I walk or when I ride the bike or something like that. You know, he wasn't house trained or he wasn't trained and none of that type of shit. I didn't have him in my cars unless we was going for kicking some ass. When he get in the car, he knew what time it was. And this is how smart he was. It's certain areas we used to do him in, right? Man, when I go get Bo and take him off that chain, and I go back walking towards this area, that motherfucker knew what time it was. Boy, he start pulling. He know it's a dog on the other side of that corner when we get around that corner. He already know it's a dog around there. That motherfucker be so happy, dog. He was so happy for me to take him to go finish one off. Man, them boys used to bring their dogs just to see them get DOA'd. You know what I'm saying? They'll bring them just for Bo to kill him. They don't give a damn about him losing. They just want to see Bo kill that motherfucker. And it was going down just like that, my brothers, my sisters. You know what I'm saying? Just like that, man. So that's why I say I got a lot of time in with that blood, man. From the golden age to when my whole game switched up. You know what I'm saying? Everything about my game switched up as far as doing it on an illegal tip. You know? And that's why I always say, man, I've been with that Big John shit when we was in the trenches. And I'm the one that's putting the Big John shit in the legal light now. But what I want my brothers and sisters to do is hit me up on my Facebook or hit me up on my phone or hit me up on my Instagram. Give me some pedigrees, right? It could be it can be dogs that you seen or you had or just dogs that you know about that's really heavy inbred. On one side, they got bred to another type of dog. And then once they made them breedings, they made phenomenal dogs. You know, send me some peds and stuff in my messenger and different places so I can speak about them on the videos in the future. You know, not just saying that Redboy or Yellow John and them was the only inbred dogs that made phenomenal dogs. You know, we got Eli dogs, but I'm not an Eli connoisseur. You know, I'm not an Eli philosopher. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I can do is comprehend, and I don't see them Eli dogs inbred the way I see them Redboy Jocko dogs inbred. Or them Redboy dogs were inbred. I don't see Mr. Boudreaux inbreeding his Eli dog the way Mr. Chavis was inbreeding his Jocko dog. I know he did it, but he didn't do it as frequently, you know? And the results wasn't the same. Different size dogs. The same way we spend time reading these pedigrees for 10, 15 years, you spend time with the actual dog. Then you saying something. You know, not even the actual one dog, the family of dogs. If you know brothers who got them families of dogs, you might not have somebody like I had a walk 'em all right here with the dogs, right down the street from me with the dogs. And these are the people that created the dogs. So you may not have it like that, but you may have it where you know brothers who got dogs off of certain things, you know, off the family of dogs that you like or you got. Study with these brothers, get the information from these brothers and learn the family of dogs. That way you know how to recognize certain things when you see it. You know this is not no fluke. This supposed to be like this supposed to be like this, and this not supposed to be like this. Why is this here? You know, you'll know all that stuff when you learn the line. I don't know the pedigree of the walk 'em off stuff. I know the line of the dogs. I know the family of the dogs. You know what I'm saying? And I say it all the time. If Eric Crossroad Kennel would have never been in the situation that he was in, did whatever he did with me, would have never got out the game, I probably would have never, I'm gonna say it like this, right? I'm gonna say I would have bought Walk 'em All dogs because I was buying them when Eric was around. All right. But my thing was, Eric was my main dog. You know, he was my top dog, where I got my top dogs from, as far as my number one man. And then Walk 'em All was my number two man. you know. So if Eric was still around, you know, I would have been focusing on that toe jam shit. I don't focus on the toe jam dogs no more because I don't believe half them dogs that's off toe jam, they say it's off toe jam out there, is really off toe jam. Not even toe jam. I can believe the toe jam. I just don't believe all that fatty shit. You know, because I followed Fatty year after year after he left Crossroad. From the time he was in California to the time his sperm came back over here to the East Coast. Supposedly his sperm. But the thing I'm trying to figure out is, if that was Fatty's sperm, where in the hell is all the fatty dogs at today? I want to breed my dog to a fatty dog. You know? And this is why I have problems at, because I was dealing with the dogs. I know how the dogs look. This dog don't look like a fatty dog. Because he buckskin black mask, that don't mean he look like a fatty dog. Them dogs look a certain kind of way. Them dogs had the real hound dog look. Big long ass ears and nice beak face. Them toe jam dogs wasn't no pushed in face dogs, box face dogs. Them dogs had pretty decent muzzles. You know? So that's why I don't really jump on that bandwagon, you know what I'm saying? And I stick with yellow dogs that I know is coming down off of that family. That's all, man. That's all. Like I always say, let's look at how these dogs are inbred and how they turn out when you breed them to something else. Y'all send that stuff to me in my messages. Like I say, Instagram, Facebook, or my phone messenger. When you got it don't matter what line of dogs is coming off of. It can be Eli or whatever. Just send me some lines of dogs that was inbred, and when they bred it out, it made hellified bulldogs. And I don't care what kind of line of dog it is, man. So y'all stay safe out there. Y'all stay legal out there. And remember where you got it from first. Your boy PB-K9s on the PBC, Pelican Bay's Corner, giving it to you fair and unbiased, raw and uncut. If you ain't got your copy of that book yet, get your copy of that Pitbull Encyclopedia. I'm going to say it until you go buy your copy of it. You know what I'm saying? It's your boy PB-K9s, and I'm out.